Hey guys, Technobeaver here, back again with another video. Sorry for not uploading in a while. I've just been very busy with school and working on my film in continuous. I've also been posting private and exclusive videos meant only for people in my Discord server. They're mainly little bloopers or little sneak peeks, so if you haven't joined that yet, be sure to do so to get updates, news, and more videos. Recently, I was sent a copy of Dystoria from Social Blade and the devs to review, so I'm just going to go ahead and give my honest thoughts on the game and do a quick review. Now, Dystoria is a Steam game for Windows that's described as a diabolical zero-G space labyrinth in which you are trapped as an experiment. Right now it's got 20 positive reviews on Steam and a 73 on Metacritic, which I guess makes this one of the first negative reviews. Let's just start off with what I don't like about this game. I ran into a lot of issues trying to get this game to run correctly. When I first downloaded the game, it got stuck on a black screen and I had to manually force quit it. And then the second time I ran the game, it just immediately crashed. And then finally, the third time I ran the game, it crashed immediately, but not only did it crashed so hard that it actually crashed Steam with it, and I had to restart Steam entirely. Around the fourth or fifth time of trying to get the game to run, I finally got in past the black screen, but I ran into a lot of performance issues. I was getting around 9 to 15 frames per second on average, which is nowhere near playable for a game like this that relies heavily on really good accurate controls. Checking the minimum requirements, my PC should be able to run this game. I've got 4 times the amount of RAM the game wants, a much faster CPU, and a halfway decent GPU. These specs should easily be able to run the game at least 30 FPS, and I think the issue goes down into the way they coded the game. Checking the discussions tab in Steam, I found a thread where the dev talks about how they coded the game. At one point, he brings up how they chose to make the game run in full screen windowed mode rather than exclusive window mode to let people alt-tab without locking up your desktop. There he also brings up about how the game already performs quite well on lower-end machines. This game does not run well on low-end computers. It doesn't feel optimized at all. I spoke to Pixel Flicker, who's a good friend of mine. You might have seen him in a couple of my videos. But I spoke to him because he ended up getting a review copy of the game as well, and apparently he can't run the game at a playable FPS even though he has an NVIDIA GTX 960. But in the end, this choice means that the graphics options in this game are very limited. You have to pick between 3 presets and can't even change the resolution of the game. There's not even a custom preset. Why is there no custom preset? What if I don't want to run the textures at high, but I want VSync on? As for the resolution, I eventually found a workaround where if I set my display to 800 by 600, I could get the game to actually run at 800 by 600. It's very tedious to have to change my display resolution every time I want to play one game. And besides, I shouldn't have to do this. I shouldn't have to change my display's resolution every time I want to play one game. Not only did I run into performance issues, I ran into a lot of glitches. There were a couple UI issues where the buttons would require me to click somewhere else to work, the lighting would get wacky sometimes, and other times the controls would lock up. Checking the file integrity showed that all the files were there, and a reinstall didn't help either. But enough about the bad, let's talk about the good. Let's move on to the positives. The graphics and the music are great. Nice, bright, colorful graphics, big explosions, and the blur effect on the glass with the planet in the background is beautiful. The music is pretty good too. It's all custom made and it sounds amazing. It's electronical synth sci-fi music and it fits in really well. As for the story, which the game seems to harp on a lot, it's okay. It's nothing too engaging, but it's there for people who care. You can even read little emails and messages on the computer in your containment hub. And lastly, the gameplay. It's decent. It reminded me of that old hovercraft game I would play on my old Windows 2000 computer. You can pilot a variety of ships, and as you traverse each level, you collect points and shoot at enemies. You also have to collect orbs in order to move on to the next level, and then find the portal to exit the level. There is a map you can use in order to zoom out and view the whole level at any time, in case you get lost. And you will get lost. I found myself getting disoriented and confused, especially when going up certain walls and flipping the world upside down, but you can always use the map to get your bearings. Combat in this game is definitely the best part. When the game works and it's running at a nice 60 FPS, it's really fun to shoot at the turrets and little alien insects. However, combat's got its issues, alright? I found that in certain positions, aliens' bullets would just fly right through me. They wouldn't cause any harm or damage me. The same goes for my own bullets sometimes. They wouldn't do damage, so there's definitely a couple bugs. There's Xbox 360 controller support, and there's also a few viewpoints you can use during the gameplay, including a first-person view that makes aiming and shooting aliens a lot easier. Now, to be honest, the game does get a bit repetitive around the 5th or 6th level, but it tries to overcome this by giving you new ships and new weapons to play around with. In conclusion, Dystoria is honestly just an okay game. I wouldn't call it great, but I wouldn't call it bad. It sits in the middle around probably like a 5 out of 10. What's holding me back from rating it higher is the bugs and the glitches and the performance. This game screams, yeah, we're kinda new at making games. The last thing holding me back is the price. $14.99 in my opinion is just way too much for a title like this, especially when it's only single player. I feel like they need to either add in some more content or lower the price to somewhere around $7.99 or $4.99. Right now, I really can't recommend this unless you really like this type of game or it's on sale. If it's on sale for $4.99 or $7.99 and your computer can definitely run it, yeah, go ahead and pick it up, it's fun. But for everyone else, move on.